The Developmental Skills Checklist is an assessment tool for early childhood. It is given 4 times. 3 times within the kindergarten year, fall, winter, and spring, 1 time at the end of preschool to give the kindergarten teacher baseline data. It is both a standardized test and a criterion reference test. Criterion reference refers to that the scores can be compared to what is expected to determine proficiency. Standardized refers to that the scores can be converted to a national percentile rank to compare the student to all students who have taken the test. A percentile rank of 50 indicates that the student has scored better or equal to 50% of the students who have taken that test. That means that they are right in the middle, and that's right where they're expected to be. Another element of standardized testing is that it must be given the same way every time and using the same materials every time. If instruction is changed or the materials are changed, the scores cannot be compared to the norm, but it still could be used for progress monitoring. It usually takes about 30 minutes to administer if you do it in one session. Multiple sessions are allowed as long as it's indicated when you took breaks to allow for students to not become too fatigued. Some of the benefits of this tool are obviously you have progress monitoring, which is great, and then you have the ability to get a baseline data for the kindergarten teacher. If she is able to see that all of her students coming in have difficulty with colors, she's going to be able to focus on that. If she knows that all of her students have difficulty with counting, but they know their colors, then she knows where to start and focus her instruction. Similarly, as an early childhood assessment, it gives a possible early indication for students with exceptionalities. A lot of students coming into preschool and kindergarten have not yet been identified, and this can be one of those first indicators of seeing that maybe there's something that needs to be done. Earlier identification leads to earlier treatment, which leads to better results. One of the limitations of this tool is the time it takes to administer, because it's one-on-one and it takes 30 minutes, and you can break it up, but it still is kind of a time-consuming thing. But it's not too time-consuming. It's a minor. If you do it within the first week of school when there's not a lot going on, it can be okay. I reviewed the DSC for a student who is 5 years old and 3 months. It was given during kindergarten. His percentile ranks, he's mostly in the 50th percentile. He's doing very well, right on that average mark. The exception is auditory. His percentile rank for auditory is 14, and his score for auditory was 8 out of 21. Some of the issues he had with auditory were segmenting sentences, segmenting words, although he could segment compound words, and rhyming, and identifying same and different. He also had a difficulty identifying same and different in the visual aspect. Contrarily, though, one of his lower scores was memory, which he scored 20 out of 29. It was one of his lowest scores, but his percentile rank for memory was 67. This indicates that compared to other students, he's doing very well in the memory aspect, even though he didn't score well. That score should raise throughout the year. And one of the interesting things I noted in his memory section was that it was the ending sounds that he had more difficulty with than the beginning sounds. That in conjunction with his difficulty rhyming shows that he really has a difficulty with ending sounds. And that leads to the biggest benefit I feel for this test is it gives you very specific information about what a student can and cannot do. This is a student I've never met, never worked with, and I have a very good idea of where to start with him and what I would do. So that's very helpful.